Hey, 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 it's me again, your host of It Matters show, Zikri Khalil, always in my humble abode, which is in Malaysia. And again, it's been a while since we've had another show with, my cat playing around there. But it's okay, it's part of the whole show. We're all real, informal, nothing crazy. But today itself, it's another day where we get to host another special guest who is making more than just a difference, solving real world problems. And he's already here with us in the virtual studio of ours. So please give a warm welcome to Ric See, who is the co founder and managing director of Great Heart Charity Malaysia. Welcome to the show, Rick.
Hello, hi, nice to meet you, Zikri. Yeah,
Likewise, likewise. You have a nice background office there. So I think someone is missing the office badly.
definitely. Hmm.
How is everything on your side? Like, what's keeping you busy while the economy is slowly recovering?
Okay, we are actually now currently planning on how we can start back our works and the groundworks as well because of the SOP and things. And probably we will start to invite our volunteers to join us back as long as they are fully vaccinated. Yeah.
Oh,
Hmm.
fantastic. Okay, so I guess most of the non-profits also like yours are already adapting to the changes of SOP. The SOPs has been very volatile. It's been changing every week sometimes or every month, but now I think it's stabilizing. So, are you looking forward to getting back into your usual routine, or not? Maybe.
We are actually, in fact, our volunteers too. Yeah, they have been texting us and say, when can I join you back again? I really want to do something. I really want to, you know, get back to my distributing work, grocery distributing work with us. Yeah.
Okay, okay. I mean, it's this is the first time that I'm meeting you virtually, and I've always asked this question with most of our friends who are running their own social enterprises, their NGOs, and every challenges that they share is slightly about the same, but in a very different spectrum. So I want to know more about your charity, the Great Heart Charity Association or Great Heart Charity Malaysia. Are those challenges roughly the same as well? Instead, apart from mobility, financial constraints, what is there that is something that we should know that has been challenging for you and your team?
Okay. They are always for every NGO, I believe we face the two main challenges. The first one is the funding issue, and another one is the manpower issue. So the fund without the manpower, we cannot, and there's no any programs that can be implemented. Likewise, if the manpower without the fund, we do not even dare to think what programs we want to implement. So this issue were even worried during the pandemic. That's because many of our long-term donors have been suspended their donation due to the economic uncertainty. And we also understood and we placed ourselves in their shoe. If we were them, yeah, the first budget that we will cut probably is the donation because we need to survive first. Therefore, our income is very much influenced by the pandemic. And other than that, because of the SOP, we have to limit the number of our social workers and to carry out the groundworks. And of course, the volunteer themselves also worry about the safety issue, and thus some of the works which exposed to high risk infection, we wouldn't want our volunteers to take the risk as well. So we have to change the way we carry our charity program during the pandemic. Yeah,
I see. I see. I mean, that's. I guess that's pretty much about the same.
yeah,
Um, with most of the most of the non and the NGOs that
charity.
we
Yeah.
discussed too. Yep. The SOPs they mentioned that as well. If there's no recurring funds and no manpower to help the projects, to go on the because a lot of them is offline based projects. You're on the ground, right? So without those, it's just you can feel a bit helpless sometimes because these are
Yeah.
your beneficiaries that you're trying to help. But before I go to my next question, I'd like to know more about maybe you can give a quick walkthrough of what is Great Heart Charity's focus, or what are the problems that you're mostly looking at, helping, solving, perhaps even trying to elevate poverty communities to another level where they can sustain themselves. Talk about that.
Okay. Yeah. Basically, Great Charity Association is non-profitable, and we are not religious based. We are non-political affinity organization in Malaysia. So our vision is to cultivate a caring society by making charitable giving a part of everyone's life. So our mission is to connect the beneficiaries, the public, the volunteer, and the donors together. So with our own capability and ability, we can do something for the society. So in fact, we have many programs. I would say we have around 10 ongoing programs on hand, which we have different impact or different target or different beneficiaries that we would like to serve. Yeah, so from education aid, from grocery aid to environmental issue, and to coffin donation as well. Yeah, so these
Wow.
are, yeah, but our ultimate goal is to make our beneficiary to become self-sustained after our help. So it's not like we want to help them for a long period. No, in fact, we have a target, probably 6 months or maybe 1 year, up to 1 year, that during the periods of our help, probably we want to see how we can help them, because every beneficiary, they face different difficulties and they have different problems. So we cannot have one strategy, or let's say okay, I will teach you, cook nasi lemak so you can sell nasi lemak to survive. No, because their background are different. So basically we see individual what is their problem, and then we provide solution for them, and in the end of our support, then we hope that they can become self-sustained.
Oh,
That's
wonderful.
the things that we do.
I mean,
Yeah.
the focus is more on micro, per
Yes.
individual this time. I mean, this is obviously not something that I come across every day, because everyone talks about the macroness of, or the majority of a specific community, and that's great. Like, I think there's much needed more attention on a micro level to really understand from I guess you're adding a bit of more human factor to it, which sometimes can be missing, right?
Yeah. That's why we need a lot of volunteers, because every individual, we probably will allocate two volunteers to take care of them. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. I totally agree with you on that. Now, back on the common issue that most nonprofits and NGOs were facing. What were the adaptation like for you, knowing that for a very good 500 days during the lockdown in Malaysia, it's quite long. I
Yeah.
mean, what were the methods that you started to adopt, that there's a saying, like, the more constraints you have, the more creativeness you have to be. So in your organization, what was that for Great Heart Charity to keep moving and continue in achieving your goals?
Okay. I believe that the pandemic is a never expected crisis. So it has definitely affected our plan and the way we do our things. So as an NGO, we know that we need to do something, but also at the same time, we are constrained by the government SOP, by the knowledge on how we can ensure the safety of our social worker and volunteers. So in the end, we come to a conclusion that we cannot do everything. We cannot help all. And we cannot do something. We can only do something based on our capabilities and the resources that we have. So therefore, since the first MCO, yeah, the first lockdown, we do not allow our social worker or volunteers to do the groundworks and those work which have close contact with the beneficiaries. So we move our works online. That's if possible. So before the pandemic, we actually do not provide monetary aid directly to the beneficiaries.
Okay.
But however, due to the travel restriction, we have to break the old way, which is we have to transfer the money directly to the beneficiaries' account to take care of their needs. And if we were to distribute the grocery, we would choose an open area. And before the distribution work, we would call every beneficiary, yeah, and ask them about their COVID-19 status and if they are tested positive or if they have any close contact with any positive case. So if yes, we will ask them to remain at home, yeah, just to relax, and we will send the grocery to their doorstep. So yeah, these are the things that we do. But other than that, we also restructure our budget allocation. So we cut down some of the not so urgent aid program, and also to utilize our emergency reserve fund to help the needy during the pandemic. So even though we as an NGO, we also worried about our funding due to the economy uncertainty. But during that time, we thought that we as a normal citizen, but we already feel suffer and we already feel that we are in a tough situation. What about those underprivileged groups? They might lose their job and they might lose their income. They might even more suffering. So therefore, in the end, we decided to proceed to use the fund, even though we might feel that our budget will be very tight. Yeah.
I mean, I can understand where that decision come from, and I don't see that as a mere of last resort. I think it's a means of getting the job done with the restrictions that were put on, and I can relate to that in that way. I mean, that is something that is more viable for current situation that all of us were facing, and I'm very much curious on, apart from helping these beneficiaries, how do you keep yourself operating with the limited funds coming in? I mean, what is it like? I mean, did you have to? I don't know how big your team is, but is it more mainly comprised of volunteers? Did they have to take a pay cut for those who are in it, or did you have enough reserves? This is the biggest question. I think a lot of nonprofits have reserves issue. I would say most of them. So maybe a quick walkthrough on that with how it was like for you guys.
Sure. For us, our practice normally we will plan our budget 1 year before. So means that in 2021, in fact, in the end of 2020, we have already planned our budget allocation for 2021. That's why, but like the pandemic, it is unexpected crisis. That's why just now I mentioned that I have to cut some of the not so urgent aid programs. In fact, we also have to use our reserve emergency fund to plan our ad hoc programs to help the needy during the pandemic. That's why I would say that our budget is probably much tight for this year, but we also try our hard, our effort, and we try our way, like try to approach some of the new corporates or new donors to get the funding for ourselves. But surprisingly, even though the number of the the amount of the donation has been lower compared to the previous year, but in fact the number of the donors has increased a lot. Yeah, I would say that this is Malaysian spirit. Even though we are in pandemic, we are facing problem, but we still want to help. Yeah.
No, that's amazing. I mean, it's great to hear that. I mean, we see the same recurring trends also. I think the donation amount also went up, apart from the increase of donation for that one portion of the year. Do you have stories that you could share about your beneficiaries? I think a lot of us want to know more a bit about the people you are helping. Give us a scenario of what situation were they like in, and what were the type of assistance that you were giving to them, and where are they now?
Okay. Do you remember the white flag movement during the second lockdown?
Yes.
Yeah, it was really great to see that many public took initiative to help those individual or families who raised the white flag. People are sending grocery to them and initiate the food bank project. So our role as an NGO, we like to ensure what we help is what they need. So we actually call our beneficiary, talk to them, and understand their situation. So many of them claim that they actually receive grocery and food support from the public. But however, they are also facing another issue, which is they are in need of money to pay their rents, their utility bills, medical bills, or to buy the diapers for their kids or elderly. So we see the needs there, and thus we offer another help to them to ease their burden during this period of time. That's how our COVID-19 relief aid, response and relief aid 2021 come into the picture to open for B40 and M40 to apply aid from us. So there's one beneficiary. When he approached us, he had been very upfront to us, claiming that his car or his house maybe seem that he is in a quite okay situation, but because of the pandemic, the loss of job, the job has pushed him to the edge of life. So, but he also have a family to feed. He has no choice but to contact us to seek for help. He was in fact, he was very embarrassed on the phone, but we feel very heartbreak because we understand that this is pandemic and he
Yeah.
has no choice but to seek help from us. So therefore, during this pandemic, we cannot really judge someone based on the look, but we have to listen to them, and then we have to carefully analyze if they really need our help or not. Yeah, and in fact, the guy, the beneficiary, actually, when he received our donation and funds, he replied a message and being very thankful for us lah. Yeah.
I think there is a quite difficult job also to know when is an emergency is really an emergency, or
Yeah.
when is a beneficiary really in need is really
Mm.
in need. I think that's
Yeah.
like quite one of the common skills that most nonprofits like you really need to learn and
Yeah.
also grasp the situation. And
Yeah.
I'm wondering, maybe this could be a great lesson for the viewers. Like how do you do that? How do you know when help is genuine? Not saying that all kinds of help are not important, but to have that measure there, I'm sure there's a way that you have your indicators to know that, okay, this beneficiary really, really needs help because of X, Y, and Z. So would you mind sharing your knowledge on that?
Yes. Before the pandemic, our works are more to helping the poor, but during the pandemic, we are helping those who are facing emergency issue. So, like how we filter or how we screen the beneficiary, we would ask them to submit all the document that we needed. For example, the electricity bill, their house utility bills, and their job pay slip, and we have to call because we limit the groundwork during the pandemic, so we have to call all the beneficiary, the applicants. Yeah, and we even talk like 1 hour to them, to really fully understand them. So through the conversation, we will ask them the question. So from this question, we will see whether they are really genuine or not. Yeah, so these are like the communication skill that we have developed ourselves during the period of time. Yes. So yeah, I would say that. So I cannot because we do not visit their home during the pandemic.
Right.
So we cannot guarantee that all of the beneficiaries are 100% genuine, but we would do our best lah. Yeah, as long as throughout the conversation and all the information that we get, they are fulfill our requirements, then we will help them.
Okay. That's good and good for us to at least understand. I think from a very basic point of view, and I thank you for sharing that. Um, the other thing I wanted to ask is, I'm sure that there are also ups and downs, but most part on the downs, where you still have people who may have questioned the integrity or your method, or the reason of why should you be even helping these people. I ask this question all the time to a lot of the social impact players in the ecosystem, when they have people who are basically not supportive, or they don't see the point of you doing so. Basically, the naysayers. As a devil's advocate in this question, what would you say to those people who think that the work that you do is redundant, or they're not important simply because they're not indirectly impacted? Um,
Okay.
how would you respond to them and make them know that whatever you do really matters?
Okay, I would say that we really work on the ground and we listen to them. We understand what they need, analyze their problem, and then we act accordingly. In the beginning of our association, it was really tough journey because nobody knows about Great Heart Charity Association, and I still remember that I have to beg my friends and my family members, to attend my events to help me to take care of the beneficiary. Yeah, that was really tough. However, after years, we realized the impact, and also the public see our impact, and the influence that we create in our community, and more they actually more and more people, they actually start to join our force. It spread like a ripple, and that's what we are proud of. And along the way, we see the needs in our community. That's why we have many types of programs. But all these programs, they are aligned with our vision and mission, which is to cultivate a caring society by making charitable giving a part of everyone's lives. So I would say that I am myself. I start my philanthropy journey because of my parents. Because since young, they influenced me. They bring me to distribute grocery, or distribute ang pao for elderly or the children in the care center home. So I would also like to pass on these good deeds to more people and influence more people. Yeah.
I mean, that's great. I'm glad that everyone has their own story on crafting their path of um, paying it forward, giving it back. I truly believe it's one of the best karma, one of the best act of service that you can do um, to a very materialistic world. Um, but it's a great reminder of what you have done with your team. For a lot of us who are still looking for aspiration, who are still learning, or still wanting to understand the work of nonprofits, which is why we have a show like this, because what you do, it really matters. In our humble opinion, in my belief, it is. Um, but time flies when we're having fun. But before we before we adjourn our call, I just wanted to also remind the viewers, if you want to find out more or even volunteer with Great Heart Charity, there's uh, a message right here down here that tells you where to go. So don't be shy, and go and check them out. They also Great Heart Charity Malaysia is also on the Incitement platform. I'm currently running a donation program for one of their many initiatives for the upcoming months and year. So for those who are already a member of the platform, or those who want to go directly donate to this particular project, you can go to this link here below, and we'll also add it on the description as well. So don't miss this opportunity to make a difference. Feel free to get in touch with Ric See's team. They're on Facebook, they're on Instagram, they're very active. And do you have any words you like to share, or anything inspirational that you would like to tell or share to the viewers before we go?
Yeah. So for those people who like to start your philanthropy journey, and if you like to help those people in need, So don't think too much, just start and act. And eventually the universal or the God will take care of us. Just like us, when we started our NGO, none of the founders would have expected we would have come this far. And if you have any inquiry, please feel free to contact us. And we are more than happy to share with you how you guys can help or how you guys can start your own NGO to help more people. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, Ric See, I had a great time having you on our show. We hope to
Thank you,
get
Zaki.
in touch again very soon. And stay safe, stay epic, and keep doing what you're doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
And
Zaki. Thank you.
thank you, everyone.